how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, first-timer on Ron Siegel Radio, Blake Vartanian, Realty Pro 100. Welcome.
Thank you, Ron.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Greatest country in the world. We must celebrate that. I look at the celebrations each morning and I wonder, which one are we going to focus on? Well, today is National Weather Person's Day. Not a lot of excitement on that one. This one here, though, I'm going to tell you right now, this could cause problems. I'm not going to say anything more than it is National Shower with a Friend Day.
It is what it is.
Yeah, and having beaten anorexia, I think I will stay benign, being that my wife could be listening, although, you know, those of you that are married know she will not be listening to me. She might be listening at me. Today's also World Nutella Day. So I think we'll stick with World Nutella Day. That's good enough for me. Although anytime it has something to do with eating, I am generally all ears. Let's look and see what else we got going on. The markets today, Dow Jones Industrial Average up 363 points right now. The S&P 500 up 2671. NASDAQ up 3161. Oil, that's the anomaly. It's up $1.84 a barrel. And we got a oil report this morning showing a build in oil of 3 million barrels. That means there's not as much demand as there is supply. You'd expect oil rates to be, or the oil pricing to go down when that happens. But we'll keep watching. U.S. 10-year Treasury, that one's right at an inflection point right now. It's at 1.64 is the yield. I'm looking right now. It looks like, well, yeah, Germany, they're still at a negative interest rate. Give them your money for 10 years. You don't get it back. You're going to lose 0.356% every year. Japan, you're going to lose 0.03 every year. We're going to, at our 1.64. The reason I say it's an inflection point is we're watching that very closely because 1.67 is a ceiling. If we hit that 1.67, if we go through it, we could see interest rates going up, home loan rates going up. If we bounce below that, stay below that, we could be going back down, which is what I've been sharing with you for the last 8 or 9 months, that we are on the way to all-time lows in interest rates. Probably won't be till the end of this year, first quarter of next year, but you can plan on it. It will be coming your way. You can strategize. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk a lot about today, because I am not a believer, as you know, in some of these online services when you're dealing with a lot of money, right? If you want to buy a bottle of shampoo, I got in trouble yesterday. I have shampoo on subscription from Amazon. My wife says, why are we getting so much of it? You're overpaying for it. Okay, so I overpaid by $1 or $2. Not the greatest thing in the world, but it's not going to kill us. But here's the issue. When you're dealing with real estate, when you're dealing with mortgages, you're not talking about $1 or $2. You're talking about thousands of dollars. You need the right strategy from professionals who understand this and are not just dealing with this because I want to save a penny or two here and there. You're talking about a lot of money. And we want to make sure that you're getting the right information there. We talk about getting that information all the time. Speaking of information all the time, did you watch last night? Holy cow, that State of the Union address. It was fascinating to me because I do get myself in trouble sometimes, many times. But I did watch and saw what the congressional Democrats stood for. Well, they had a veterans come into the room, surprised his family. Democrats in Congress didn't stand for that. We saw Rush Limbaugh getting the Medal of Freedom. Democrats didn't stand for that. Then we saw at the end of the report or the presentation, the Speaker of the House tear up the speech. Now, we understand the fact that the Speaker of the House and the President don't get along. I understand they have not spoken to each other since October of last year, which is not a good thing for the country. A little booing there. That might have been the congressional Democrats coming in the room. I'm just throwing that out there. Hey, but here's the issue. Think about all of the lives that were mentioned in that report. A veteran who was lost his family, lost his house, lost his job, living on the streets, dealing and getting a job in the opportunity zone. How about the young lady that was getting a scholarship to go to the school that she wanted to go to because so many people in her community are unable to read out of the schools that they're provided? Think about that. These are what the Speaker of the House, unfortunately a representative of California, was tearing up at the end of that speech. So was she tearing up, or was she trying to discuss this with or show her displeasure with the president? Or was it displeasure with the country? I throw that out there for your consideration. You tell me what you think. You can put those comments right there in our comment section on the page if you would feel so inclined. Amazing how that goes there. And obviously we had the congressional, I don't know if I just call it like it is. I call them the congressional terrorists, Ilhan Omar and her gang there. Obviously, what's the other one? Ocasio-Cortez. She's not as bad as Ilhan Omar, who came to this country and wants to convert it into the country that she came from. Does that make sense to anybody? If she was so excited with the country she came from, why didn't she stay there? I just don't understand some of these things. I did get a little clarity on Iowa. Now, here's a fascinating story. You will not hear this in the mainstream media. You've got to listen to Ron Siegel radio to get this information. But here's just a little subtlety about the Iowa caucus. Now, if you noticed, probably about 2 or 3 o'clock California time, we got the first reports yesterday about the counting from the Iowa caucus. 2 or 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Now, I can tell you this on my app for my kids. We can do a poll and have information instantaneously. But here's the part that no one wants to tell you about. Right now, I am looking at the Democrat results that are showing up on the screen as of 9:12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's about 1 minute ago. And they've got 71% of the precincts reporting. And I'm doing quick math because obviously I've been talking while this came out. But it looks to me like there is about 1,300 people that voted in the Democrat caucus. That's right, I said 1,300 people. Now, if I were to do quick math, and I'm a simple guy, but we've been about, about 30 hours since the caucus is closed, and they've only been able to count 1,300 ballots. Now, contrast that to the Republican side, and they had about almost 33,000 people voted on the Republican side. Yes, 1,300 Democrats showed up, 33,000 Republicans showed up. Yeah, and I get it. Bill Weld, I don't even know who that is. He got 426 votes. I should point this out. Bill Weld, do you know who Bill Weld is? I don't, and I follow the news. He got 426 votes. Joe Walsh, He got 348 votes. But let's go back to Bill Weld. The president got 31,464 votes. But Bill Weld, 426 votes. He was number 2 on the Republican side. Pete Buttigieg, he was the number 1 vote getter on the Democrat side. And he got, are you ready for this one? 419 votes. So if I do simple math, Pete Buttigieg, as the leader on the Democrat side, got 7 votes less than somebody who I arguably no one's ever heard of. Maybe his family. I'm not sure. Maybe they don't even know who he is, Bill Weld. But that's the difference here in what we're talking about. And then you saw last night the difference. If you looked at the report last night, our economy is moving pretty well, don't you think? And I know they want to tell you that it's only the rich that are benefiting from the economy. Well, here's the issue. If you've got a 401k, that you might not be rich to have a 401k, but many of us do. Right? My 25-year-old son has a 401k. So it's got investments in the stock market. The stock market is up today 366 points. It's benefiting everybody. We're at 29,174 on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This economy is helping everybody. The lower 50% of the workforce of our economy has got 47% increase in net worth. The top 1% has a 13% increase in net worth. Think about that. So who's this economy really benefiting? The top 1% are always going to benefit because they pay the most. They have the most. So in dollars, they're going to get the most. But the percentages, that gap is closing, and that is what the president's been talking about. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Posing a question for you this morning, Nordstrom and your Realtor, what are the similarities? We're going to talk about that. Does aging in place make sense for you? Hey, we got a couple of new programs I want you to know about. The Ron Siegel Radio Girl Scout Cookie Drive is on again this year. No, I am not eating all of them, but we want to get by as many boxes as we can, and I'm going to bribe you to do it. Don't tell the Girl Scouts because they don't like when I say that. And some smart things you can do with your tax refund, all that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, Gold Star has the programs. Just make a call, give it to me. I'll put you in touch with the right people. Dow Jones Industrial Average now up 353 points. The NASDAQ up 30 points. We're watching that one for you. We're looking at the 10-year Treasury, 1.647, still holding below that level of resistance. And we're also watching the mortgage-backed securities for you. The security itself is going down 5 basis points, which means interest rates are up ever so slightly. But that's all on Google. You can find all that stuff right there. Google.com will give you all that information. Why it's happening is what you tune into Ron Siegel Radio for. So here is the issue. The first of the 2 jobs reports this week came out today. Expectations were 155,000 new jobs. The number came in at 291,000 new jobs. And there's a lot of issues there. Leisure and hospitality added 96,000 jobs. Construction added 47,000 jobs in construction. Wow. And they're talking about an infrastructure bill, which could add even more to that. Small businesses added 94,000 jobs. Mid-sized businesses added 128,000 jobs. Big business added 69,000 jobs. And yes, the BLS jobs report will come out on Friday. CoreLogic reported that home prices rose 0.3% in December, 4.0% year over year. That's a great number. That's a national number. So you've got to talk to a local real estate professional to get your local numbers. And our norm for over decades is about 3.6% year over year. So real estate is appreciating even faster than it has been historically. Frank Nothaf, chief economist for CoreLogic, said that, quote, moderately priced homes are in high demand, short supply, pushing up values and eroding affordability for first-time buyers. I don't know if I agree with that. Homes that sold for 25% or more below the local median price experienced a 5.9% price gain in 2019, compared with 3.7% gain for homes that sold for 25% or more above that median price. I'm going to share with you the chart. That's the Mortgage Minute today, brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. Let's chat this morning. We are talking with our friend Blake Vartanian here, Realty Pro 100. Blake, I love your company, the corporate name.
Thank you.
Right? I mean, tell us actually the corporate name for Realty Pro 100.
Hospitality Realty Corporation, doing business as Realty Pro 100.
So how does hospitality tie into real estate?
So in 2017, I wrote a business plan in August that I hadn't expected to write, and it just came to me. And a couple weeks later, my wife, Joanne, and we were in New York City, and we were watching 60 Minutes, and Danny Meyer, who founded basically the Gramercy Corporation, they own Shake Shack and several other, about 15 high-end restaurants in New York City. He was featured on 60 Minutes, and his whole premise was that life, like business, is how you make people feel. It's that simple and it's that hard. And I thought about the real estate business and how the technology is coming into the business, and people are looking to it as the single thing to rely on in the home purchasing process. And there are companies who are looking to disrupt, to drive consumers to the technology and bypass the real estate professional. Well, as a third-generation real estate practitioner, my wife's a fourth-generation real estate practitioner, we know that traditionally the best deals are done in relationships with people who you know or people who you're attempting to help make their lives better. And so we looked at the equation of 87% of the people do not use the same real estate agent that they used before, from information we found on Google. And we thought, why is it that so many people, a high percentage, about 2/3 of the people say they will use their past real estate agent, but only 13% actually do. So we realized that it's the agent gets busy, moves on to other opportunities, and the client moves on with their life, and they don't stay in contact with each other. So many of us were taught that you get into a relationship at the start of your career, and you work with those same clients throughout your entire career, and you build a portfolio of business that eventually the real estate agent has a book of business that's so large or meets their needs that they can just take care of those clients. They don't have to search for anything more, and they can just do a really good job of focusing on those people. Too many people rent the idea of being in the real estate business, and they come and go, and they damage the real estate business, or people don't bring the value for the compensation they wish to receive. And in the absence of value, the pricing becomes the issue. The consumer gets disenchanted and has a right to, because they didn't receive what they expected. So it's our obligation as a profession to deliver at the highest level. That's one of the things I respect about you, Ron, is that you do that year in and year out.
Thanks. Yeah, and so here's my thought there, Blake, is if you're dealing with a small core of people, it seems to me like you're going to develop a longer term relationship with those people. And you can be more, you get away from being a real estate salesperson and you become a real estate advisor.
Absolutely true. And I looked at the first question I asked at the beginning of the business plan as the problem that we were trying to solve is, why is it that professionals who've been in the business 5 years or longer still have to generate new leads for their portfolio? And the answer we keep coming back to is because they haven't taken care of, at the highest level, the people who they've already served and gotten into their spheres of influence and helped their family members achieve the American dream of real estate ownership. My grandfather, who was the first generation, came to America in 1948 because you could own real estate in the United States. The country he came from, you couldn't.
Sure.
So when he came here, he realized that there's only a limited amount of land in Southern California, and no more is going to be created.
Sure. And the nice thing there is by helping people, it's, what is it? I think it's Zig Ziglar. The more people that you help, the more that helps you, or
Absolutely.
What goes around comes
around.
And something, I think you end up not only helping create a better life for the families that you're serving, you create a better life for yourself and your family as well.
You do, and as you say that, one of the finest hours I had in my life was I was able, as a reward for something that I achieved in one of the franchises I worked for, I was able to have a one-on-one for 1 hour with Zig Ziglar. And he was a person who worked caring at the highest level. When you called his house in the Fort Worth area in Texas, his wife, the redhead he referred to, actually answered the phone and booked his dates. Wow. And that was in the 80s and the 90s. I got to work with him. He was a tremendously wonderful person and human being.
And that, that's what I think when that's the life or your life's mission. That's really when you start having a lot of fun, and your job is not really a job anymore. It's really the idea of going out there, enjoying what you're doing. One of the things that we're going to start, I want to chat about it just for a second this morning, is we do this every year. One of my favorite we do a lot of fundraising on Ron Siegel Radio. We're blessed that we've got you as an audience listening to us. But it's the only time that I ever believe in double dipping. In real estate, they have this double ending, I should say. Real estate has a term of double ending. It's when a agent is both the buyer's agent and the seller's agent both. Well, I'm not a big fan of that. We'll talk about that other times. But I am a big fan of double ending our Girl Scout cookie drive. So here's what we're doing this year, as we've done the last 4 or 5 years. I have selected a Girl Scout troop, and we want you to join us in buying Girl Scout cookies through Ron Siegel Radio. Now, because I've beaten anorexia, and my wife gets mad if I eat too many of them, the other part of this, the double ending side, is we will be asking this girl to deliver all the cookies that you buy to the Ronald McDonald House in Orange County. We love doing that every year. Now, here is the shameless plug and the bribe that I'm giving you. Send me a note after will you just Venmo or PayPal money to us at Ron Siegel Radio. We will give the money to the young Girl Scouts, and anybody that buys 5 boxes of cookies, $25, as a gift to you, as a thank you to you from Ron Siegel Radio, we're going to send you a $100 Dining Guru restaurant certificate. $100. Pretty good trade right there, don't you think? $100 for 25. So go on there. I'm going to put all the information on our Facebook pages. We do this every year. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, does aging in place make the most sense? 12 smart things to do with your tax refund if I get to it. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. More with Blake when we come back. You can reach me, call anytime. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you
I am not a fan when it comes to real estate of any sort. Don't go online. You can start a search online, but get the help of a professional. And you're looking for, Blake, I'm going to throw this at you as because most everyone knows my opinion is I don't like people that are out there trying to sell. I prefer somebody that's out there trying to educate and guide somebody to what's right for their family. Complete different scenario.
I look at the technology vendors, and what their goal is to create a transactional experience where you go in and for a discounted price, you basically experience a limited amount of value, and there's no relationship established. In the pattern of a real estate broker's history, and I'm in year 40 of mine, I can go back to a time in each person's life where they've come into my life, and we sat down and we did a full consultation on what their goals, hopes, aspirations, and dreams were, and we made those come true. No avatar or algorithm is going to knock on your door and bring you a real estate opportunity.
Sure.
And so when you get involved with a technology-driven or technology-based company, that's fine for those who want to do it. But there's a huge population in Orange County who grew up in an environment and a time where relationships mattered. My family moved to Orange County in 1960. The neighborhood was our social media. The moms were in control of the social media network.
Sure.
And it's
a whole different world,
right? And so we learned by talking to one another. So I suggest to people in all aspects of life, doesn't matter whether you're a lawyer, a doctor, put down the phone and get in front of someone and understand who they are and enjoy their life's experiences, because there's so much value in understanding what that person wants to achieve, and then satisfaction in helping them achieve it.
Look, I'm going to challenge you on one part of your comment.
Please.
And I don't believe it's cheaper using the technology. But I've looked at the numbers when we go to the iBuyer programs and the discounters.
That's true.
Right? And an iBuyer and a discounter are completely different things. They're not anywhere close to the same. The iBuyer, if you go on Zillow or any of these other services to buy a property, it's going to cost you a lot more to go through their service. I know they make it look all glamorous, but I know that you can show somebody ways, number one, how they're going to make more money by using a real estate professional.
Absolutely.
And you're going to help them achieve their goals at the same time, which those things have no clue on how to do.
So we have example after example where we've brought clients properties and opportunities that were, let's say, 100,000 or more under market. We recently had an experience where a home that today would, once fixed up, would sell for $4.2 million. The buyer was able to purchase it from the seller who knew the values, was fully educated on the values. So there was total transparency in the transaction, but they needed to sell, and they sold it at just under $2.8 million. We estimated about $700,000 to fix it up and get it the way that it would be for the neighborhood, and that would be about a $700,000 equity position for the owner who purchased it, giving them the opportunity to get a return on their investment. And the two parties were brought together by an agent in our firm, and that agent happened to be my brother, who has been licensed for over 30 years, and he knew both parties, educated both parties, and showed them why it was in their mutual best interest to do the deal. And both people are more than happy because this person needed the cash, couldn't get it on the open market. And when I look at the iBuyer programs, there's nothing new about investors coming to buy real estate,
Sure,
and offering less than full value for the house in exchange for a fast cash sale.
absolutely.
My first broker, Bill Hendry, in 1982, I worked for him. He walked in on one of my first days in his office, and he said, "Blake, here's the deed to a house that's worth $54,000, and I paid $27,000 for it."
So what you've actually identified there, and in the transaction that you spoke about, it was the real takeaway for me is that your brother sat down with two families,
Yes.
and identified what the needs were of both families,
Yes.
and met those needs.
Yes.
Now, I've looked at some of the iBuyer programs. I've looked at a lot of the online services, and I've seen in there where they say, put your name, put your address, put your email, because they don't want to talk to you. They really don't want a phone number.
They don't want you bothering them.
Right? Exactly. They don't want you bothering them. I don't see a line that says, what do you need in this transaction?
Absolutely. What are your goals, your hopes, your aspirations, and how are we going to achieve those together over the next 5 to 10 years? So I go back to the people rely on the Zestimate from Zillow, and I think that is the most, my personal opinion, not just my professional opinion, a ridiculous thing to do and to rely on as a value for your home, because Spencer, who started Zillow, his own house sold for 40% less than his estimate.
Right. So here
you can see that story online on Google. I'm not making it up.
No, absolutely.
It was
there.
Like 1.7 million, and he sold it for 1.2 million.
Right. And now when Zillow is the competitor, right? I shouldn't say the competitor. They're the adversary of the homeowner. Right. So if you put your house on Zillow, or you look at that Zestimate, do you think they're motivated more if it's $1 million house and they're contemplating buying it? They want to give you a quick sale on their iBuyer program. Do you think they're going to tell you a legitimate value there? Now, they're going to discount it when they make you an offer anyway. But do you think they're going to give you the legitimate value of that property when they show it online? Or are they going to show you a discounted value and then discount it further if they want to buy it from you? I'll ask you that question, and we'll talk more about that with Blake when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Note to engineers, we're just going to talk about the Your Credit Matters segment in general terms. We're not going to really get into it today. That way you can take that off the screen. I want to spend more time talking to Blake. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you.
solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Quick announcement. We are very, very honored and pleased to have been asked to join the National Speakers Bureau for the Society of Financial Awareness. And we're going to be chatting and doing a lot of seminars coming up, so keep track of the Ron Siegel Radio Facebook page and website. We're going to be doing quite a bit of seminars on helping you to maximize the funding for your kids in colleges. There's a lot of people that don't know how to fill out the FAFSA forms properly. They're a little difficult. They don't realize that you can get more grants and scholarships from private schools than public schools. It can cost less money for your kids to go to Harvard than Cal State Fullerton. So we're going to be doing some seminars on that, and it's all through the nonprofit organization, Society of Financial Awareness. So we're really excited about that new affiliation. Watch that coming on. Your Credit Matters segment brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You've got a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Talk to our friend Jeff Sipes over at Blue Water Credit, and they will help you get that report corrected using the laws of the land. And as I shared before, we're not going to get into our story with that because I'm having too much fun chatting here with our friend Blake Vartanian, Realty Pro 100, and a new concept. I'm going to say, well, I shouldn't say it's new. I'm going to say that it's something that we've professed for many, many years, and I really like the idea that Blake is taking this to a whole new level. I've shared with you many, many times that I don't ever believe that we work with our team works with a lot of private clients, and I don't refer to any of them as clients because they're all families, right? And I denote family difference because we want to be part of the family. When I was at Merrill Lynch, we used to deal with assets. There weren't too many people that wanted to deal with the liability side of someone's household. That's what we do, right? And it's a matter of getting involved and understanding that your goals are going to change when you are a newlywed. A lot of people, and Blake, I'm sure you've seen this many, many times throughout your career and 3 generations of the family, that first-time home buyers, they are living in a 1-bedroom apartment, come to you, and now all of a sudden they need a 4-bedroom house with a white picket fence and a pool.
Absolutely.
Right? And the idea is if you're able to sit, and if you go online, you might find that and say, oh gosh, I work in Los Angeles and now I'm living in Corona or Riverside, Apple Valley, and nothing wrong with any of those cities, but now you're 3 hours from work and that's taking away from family time.
And oftentimes the best way to find a opportunity is before it comes on the market. When you're seeing something online, you've seen it after the real estate agents have already filtered through it, decided not to purchase it for themselves, and then put it online.
Wait, back up. The real estate agents didn't purchase for themselves?
Well, some of the biggest buyers in the marketplace are investors who happen to have real estate licenses. And they're not always practicing in the real estate profession, but they have a license and they use it for a reason because they're looking for so I always look at the internet as oftentimes the leftovers, and you don't want to buy the leftovers. You want the inside information so you get a fresh meal and a fresh opportunity. And you get that by networking with people, because I will know something on the street because I've been out there talking to someone who says, next week I'm going to list my house. And if I'm able to bring that opportunity to a buyer before it becomes on the market, before it's listed, and there's a possibility something could be created with an opportunity to solve those people's needs and match the buyer's wants. And all of a sudden, that's what we do. We're matchmakers in so many ways.
Match.Blake.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the concept. I've seen this many, many times, and you're on the real estate side. I'm just a simple guy and a lender, and I frequently see people will buy a house, and mama decides that as soon as she gets there, generally it's because I'm not trying to be gender specific. It's just that in my world, my wife makes all the decisions. I just go along for the ride, right? And mom wants to change the paint, change the carpet, and I was just selling the house, and the first thing I did in order to put the house on the market was paint it and carpet it. right? And then I had to put more money into it for the next person to come in and redo exactly what I did.
And oftentimes I think back to the days when before the internet, we sold houses in their as-is condition. If you think about the population at large, there are hoarder shows on television displaying how people live, and people like to buy what they are comfortable with.
Sure.
So here we are fixing up every house. We used to advertise when it was legal to do. You might say tired 2-story, and the homeowner would call you and say, my house isn't a tired 2-story. And we'd be, well, really it is, because we see a lot of houses and yours is not necessarily in the best condition. Because I can honestly tell you, Ron, that not a single person in a consultation has ever told me that their house wasn't the finest house on the block. And that's okay that they believe that.
Sure.
Because it's their house.
It's their castle.
It's their castle, and they deserve to feel that way.
Yeah, we hope that everybody would.
Yeah.
And the idea of using that real estate professional, something, and here's my term, Blake. Not a lot of people use this term. Once somebody engages you or a real estate professional, I think that they need to say that they need to try and work through a divorce of the property.
Absolutely.
It's no longer my home. It's now the asset that I've engaged you, retained you to liquidate for the highest possible price. Do it however you need to.
Well, and I think one of the dumbest things that real estate agents do is promote that they just sold a house in the neighborhood at the highest price possible, because that buyer comes into the neighborhood and everybody's chuckling and going, well, that's the guy who just made my values a lot higher. Well, I'm so glad I bought when I did. Instead of just, approaching, introducing the family to the neighborhood and creating a better community that people would want to be a part of. So singling out people for their financial decisions, I don't think is the best way to promote long-term relationships, because those people don't have any idea what's going to be said about them before they get there. And then this postcard shows up that says, hey, they just paid the highest price in the neighborhood. And they might feel embarrassed. And there's no reason to embarrass somebody based on how they felt the value of the house, what it was at. That's
a great point, because you don't really think about that part of it, because, if I went over to, to Vaughn's and said, something, I want a ribeye, and don't give me the one that's $9.99 a pound, give me the one that's $15.99.
Right. They don't publicly.
Right. Would I really be doing that? No, that's not the idea there. So you're spot on right there. And going from the hospitality standpoint, we're doing a seminar this week. We're going to, for any real estate agents that are listening, we're doing a seminar this week in Orange County, next week in the Coachella Valley, talking about the real estate professionals, or educating the real estate professionals and partners on doing a housewarming party for the new homeowner.
It's a beautiful idea.
Right?
Great idea.
It's all about the hospitality, get them to know. I mean, how many of you have a neighbor that you don't even know, right? You drive into your neighborhood, you open up the garage door with a remote, you put your car in the garage, push the remote, then open your door and get out. Hopefully you turned off the engine first, right? Because we don't want anybody getting sick in there. But how many of you are doing that, right? That's the whole issue. So the idea of hospitality, that just opens up the person to having a great experience in that home.
And I think there's tremendous value in creating a neighborhood and a community where we're all interconnected, because, I go back to so much business, commerce is alleged to be done online. But when you look at compared to what is actually done in retail versus what's online is still very small compared to what is done in our local malls and our local stores. And
it's a fascinating comment.
And if we support our local businesses, from real estate people to mortgage people to the professionals who own and operate our local businesses, instead of supporting businesses that are hundreds or thousands of miles away because we wanted to point and click, we might be one day affecting our own values of our own houses, because if our economy locally falls apart,
sure,
we don't support businesses in our community, we're actually hurting ourselves. So to save $10, you might be costing yourself in the long run. And my suggestion is get in the car, go down to the local retailer, thank the retailer, even if you have to pay $5 or $10 more, because they're working hard, promoting local business. We're all about promoting each other's local businesses. So we advocate that. We support it. We do a lot of cross social media that way. And we want to see businesses succeeding in our community, because it makes for a better experience for everybody.
Great. There's a great place to end, and you know, I do a lot of online investing or trading of stocks and bonds, and it's fascinating, Blake, that you say that, because I never really thought of it. Even with the digital world that we're in, the Amazons and all this online purchasing, I think the online purchases are still only about 15 to 18% of retail sales.
Yes.
Right? Very small number. That's some great information there. If you want to meet Blake, give me a call, 800-306-1990. Be happy to put you in touch. If you're ready to get some Girl Scout cookies, at Ron Siegel on Venmo, we'll get that taken care of with the girls. And as always, we ask you set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John, who's engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Tides that I tried to swim against.